The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Let's be honest, most mornings don't feel like fresh beginnings. They feel like survival. You wake up to the buzz of your phone. Notifications pile in. Emails. News. Maybe a vague sense of anxiety creeps in even before your feet touch the ground. You're reacting before you've even remembered who you are. And this happens every day. But what if your morning wasn't just something to get through? What if it became the most powerful hour of your entire day? The one thing that could shift not just your mindset, but the course of your life. This isn't about productivity hacks. This is about reclaiming your mind. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your reactions, your energy, there's a quiet revolution waiting in your first hour of the day. It's ancient. It's timeless. And it's personal. It's Stoicism. Often misunderstood as cold or rigid, Stoicism is actually about learning how to live deeply, intentionally, and without unnecessary suffering. It's about mastery of the self, not the world. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled armies and empires, also battled internal storms. He didn't preach detachment, he practiced it, every morning, with a pen and his thoughts. That's your invitation too. Because your first 60 minutes aren't just a routine. They're your launch pad. They shape how you respond to pressure, how you lead, how you love, and most of all, how you think. This article isn't going to give you 10 more things to add to your to-do list. It's going to offer 10 simple but soul-shifting habits that reframe your relationship with the day and with yourself. Some will take 30 seconds. Some might take courage. All will take you closer to the person you know you could be. So if you're tired of feeling like your life is leading you, instead of you leading it, start here. Start tomorrow. Start with the morning. Because if you can change the way you wake up, you can change the way you live. Ikigai. Discover the reason you want to wake up. There's a moment, right between sleep and waking, when you open your eyes and meet the weight of a new day. And in that split second, one quiet question often whispers beneath your breath. Why am I doing this, again? It's a question many avoid, but everyone eventually feels. We wake up, check our phones, rush into routines, and carry out responsibilities with a strange sense of distance. We move, but we don't always feel moved. That's where Ikigai becomes a lifeline. A Japanese term that roughly means a reason for being. Ikigai is more than a concept. It's a compass. A quiet, anchoring force that makes life worth living, especially on the days when motivation feels absent and the noise of the world drowns out our own inner voice. Ikigai sits at the intersection of 4 powerful questions. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? What can you be paid for? When these overlap, they point you towards something deeper than passion or profit. They lead you to purpose. And purpose, however big or small, is what gives meaning to even the most mundane mornings. The Stoics didn't talk about Ikigai by name, but their way of life mirrored it. Marcus Aurelius, despite being emperor of Rome, began his days with private journaling, not about glory or status, but about duty, alignment, and contribution. He didn't ask, "What do I feel like doing?" He asked, "What is the right thing to do today?" That's Ikigai in motion. Here's the truth. You don't stumble upon your Ikigai while scrolling social media. You build it, patiently, through self-awareness and small consistent choices. So how can you bring Ikigai into your mornings? Start by slowing down. Give yourself 5 minutes before the world barges in. Grab a notebook and reflect. What activity makes me feel alive, not just entertained? What do people naturally come to me for? What did I do yesterday that felt fulfilling, even in the smallest way? Then choose one small action to honor that insight. If you love writing, start your day with a sentence. If you value kindness, send a message to someone just because. If you're drawn to nature, step outside barefoot for a moment and breathe. You don't need to have the perfect answer. You just need to begin with honesty and curiosity. And here's the beautiful part. The more often you align your mornings with your ikigai, the more your life starts to feel like your own, not something handed to you by expectation or obligation. Because when you wake up with purpose, you don't just enter another day. You step into yourself. And that's a morning worth rising for. Tomorrow starts tonight. Most people think their morning starts when the alarm goes off. But the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Your morning begins the night before. Think about your most chaotic mornings. You wake up late. You feel foggy. You're rushing, reactive, checking notifications before you've even checked in with yourself. You grab whatever clothes are nearby. You skip breakfast. You already feel behind, and it's not even 8 a.m. Sound familiar? Now think about how the night before looked. Did you stay up scrolling endlessly, your brain overloaded with content that left no space to breathe? Did you fall asleep with worry swirling in your mind? Did you tell yourself, "I'll deal with everything tomorrow," and then left your future self to deal with the mess? This is the cycle most of us live in. But the Stoics offer another path. They understood that peace and preparation go hand in hand. Seneca often practiced evening reflection, asking himself what he did well, what he could improve, and how to approach the next day with more clarity and character. For them, nighttime wasn't an escape from life, it was a rehearsal for living better. You don't need candles and scrolls to practice this. Just a shift in how you end your day. Try this simple routine tonight. Close the day with intention. Instead of scrolling, sit quietly for 5 minutes. Ask, what did I learn today? What challenged me, and how did I respond? What am I proud of? Write down your top 3 for tomorrow. Choose 3 tasks or intentions that truly matter. Not everything. Just the essentials. This tells your brain, we have direction. We won't wake up to decision fatigue. Set your environment for success. Lay out your clothes. Prep your water or journal. Dim the lights earlier. You're not being rigid, you're being kind to your future self. Disconnect to reconnect. No screens 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Instead, read something nourishing. Stretch. Listen to silence. Let your nervous system wind down with grace. Because your day doesn't begin with urgency. It begins with energy. And the quality of that energy is determined long before the sun rises. When you take ownership of your evening, you set yourself up for mornings that don't start in chaos, but with calm. You give your mind a soft landing, so it can rise strong the next day. And most importantly, you send yourself this powerful message. I care about the person I'm becoming tomorrow, so I'll take care of them tonight. That's not just routine. That's self-respect in motion. Don't check your phone first thing. You wake up. The alarm buzzes. Before your eyes even fully open, your hand reaches for the phone. And just like that, your day no longer belongs to you. Instead of entering the world from a place of stillness and choice, you're instantly dragged into noise, emails to answer, messages from work, breaking news, bad news, someone's opinion, someone's vacation, someone's crisis. You haven't even taken your first breath with awareness, and your mind is already split into a dozen directions. This is the modern ritual, silent, automatic, and quietly destructive. But it doesn't have to be this way. The Stoics may not have had smartphones, but they understood distraction better than most. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. Retreat into yourself. When you reach for your phone first thing, you deny yourself that retreat. You trade your inner sanctuary for other people's demands. This isn't about rejecting technology. It's about reclaiming agency. The first few minutes of your day are sacred. They set the tone not just for the morning, but for your mindset, attention, and emotional state throughout the day. Here's what to do instead. Create a sacred start. Give yourself the first 15 to 30 minutes of the day completely screen-free. No checking notifications, no doom scrolling, no jumping into apps. Use that time to connect inward before connecting outward. You could sit in silence and take 5 conscious breaths. Write a quick journal entry. How do I want to show up today? Stretch gently, feel your body waking up. Watch the light change outside your window. Simply be. If you're used to reaching for your phone as an emotional safety net, this might feel uncomfortable at first. That's normal. Most discomfort is just detox. But here's what happens when you don't check your phone right away. You start your day with choice instead of reaction. Your nervous system stays calm. Your thoughts are your own, unfiltered, untouched, unpolluted. Over time, this tiny shift becomes transformational. It teaches your mind that not everything is urgent. That your life is not measured in swipes, taps, or alerts. That you get to lead your day, not follow it. So tonight, make one decision for tomorrow. Place your phone in another room. Or at least far enough away that you have to think before reaching for it. Then, when you wake up, don't rush to consume. Take a breath. Be still. Let yourself arrive. Because when you reclaim your first moment, you reclaim your mind. And from there, anything is possible. One deep breath, reconnect with your body and mind. Before coffee. Before goals. Before the noise begins. Take one deep breath. Not just a casual inhale, but a conscious, grounding breath that pulls you back into your body and reminds you. You are here. You are alive. And you are in control. It's easy to underestimate the power of breathing. After all, it happens automatically. We breathe without trying, without noticing, without thought. But that's also why it's one of the most profound and underused tools we have. When life gets fast, your breath becomes shallow. When stress creeps in, your breath tightens. When you live in a constant state of urgency, your body forgets what calm even feels like. That's why returning to the breath is more than just a wellness trick. It's an act of remembering your center, your rhythm, your inner stillness. The Stoics might not have had breathwork routines, but they deeply understood the importance of self-command. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That power starts with the breath. It's always with you. It doesn't require equipment, apps, or a perfect schedule. It simply asks you to pause and pay attention. Here's a practice to try tomorrow morning. The 4-4-6 breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold the breath for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat 3 times. That's it. Notice what changes. Your heart rate slows. Your shoulders drop. Your mind softens. The morning stops rushing past you and begins with you. You're no longer sleepwalking into the day. You're stepping in, awake, aware, and grounded. Over time, this one simple breath becomes more than a morning practice. It becomes a doorway to presence, a tool you reach for in chaos, a signal to your nervous system. We're safe. We're steady. We're choosing calm. And here's the truth. You don't need to control everything today. You only need to begin from a place of calm clarity. So tomorrow, before anything else, before scrolling, before talking, before running, breathe. One deep, intentional breath. Because peace doesn't arrive from the outside. It rises from within. And sometimes, all it takes is a breath to remember that. Make your bed, a small act of big discipline. It takes 2 minutes. No applause. No reward. And yet, it might be one of the most powerful habits you can build into your morning. Making your bed isn't about the bed. It's about sending yourself a message. This space matters. I matter. And I'm choosing order, even in something small. In a world that constantly pulls us into noise, speed, and reaction, making your bed is a quiet, grounded ritual. It's the opposite of urgency. It's an act of presence. The Stoics believed in showing up fully to every moment, no matter how ordinary. They taught that virtue is built through daily actions, not just in heroic gestures, but in the way we move through routine. Marcus Aurelius didn't talk about blankets and pillows, but he did write about discipline, self-respect, and showing up with integrity. He reminded himself constantly that greatness is not found in ease, but in doing the right thing, especially when it feels unnecessary. That's exactly what making your bed is. A small, easily ignored task that holds deep power when done with intention. When you make your bed, you start your day with a win. You prove to yourself that you can follow through on something, no matter how small. And that small victory creates momentum. From there, the next task becomes easier. You feel more in control. You feel more prepared. It's also a commitment to your future self. Later in the day, when you return to your room, tired, overwhelmed, distracted, you'll be met with a made bed. A space of order. A reflection of care. A reminder. I showed up for myself this morning. That kind of consistency isn't just practical, it's emotional. Because when you're struggling, it's not grand advice or productivity hacks that carry you forward. It's small, steady rituals that whisper, "You're capable. Keep going." So tomorrow morning, don't overthink it. Don't wait to feel motivated. Just stand up, turn around, and smooth the sheets. Fluff the pillow. Tuck the corners. Then walk away, not as someone checking off a task, but as someone who follows through. Someone who honors the details. Someone who knows that small things build strong people. That's how the Stoics lived. Fully. Attentively. Intentionally. And in a world that constantly pulls you outward, making your bed is a quiet way to return to yourself. Every morning. Without fail. With purpose. Put your alarm across the room. Win the first battle of the day. There's a quiet war that happens each morning. Between the person you are and the person you're trying to become. The battlefield? Your bed. The moment your alarm rings, 2 voices show up. One says, "Just 5 more minutes." The other whispers, "Get up. Let's begin." Most days, the first voice wins. Not because you're weak, but because your environment is stronger than your intentions. That's where this simple trick becomes powerful. Put your alarm across the room. It's not magic. It's not even difficult. But it works because it introduces just enough friction to interrupt the default pattern. Now you have to physically get out of bed. Now you're standing. Now you're awake, and most importantly, you've just won your first battle of the day. This might seem small, but in Stoic philosophy, small victories matter deeply. The Stoics believe that character is built through repetition. Not in grand, once-in-a-lifetime decisions, but in the choices we make every single morning. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to get up and do the work of a human being. That meant facing resistance. It meant overriding comfort. It meant choosing virtue over convenience. And what is more convenient than staying in bed? Getting up, especially when you don't feel like it, isn't just physical. It's mental training. It's telling your mind, we do hard things. We don't need to feel ready. We simply begin. Moving your alarm forces a small act of self-respect. It eliminates the negotiation. It removes the option of postponing responsibility. And that one act creates momentum. When you win the first battle, the second becomes easier. You're no longer starting the day with a compromise. You're starting with conviction. It's not about being perfect. There will be days when you still press snooze. But even then, you've changed the baseline. You've told yourself that comfort is not the default. Discipline is. And discipline is freedom. So tonight, don't just set your alarm, move it. Put it far enough away that your body has to move. Set yourself up to win the moment that matters most, the very first one. Because the day isn't shaped by what happens at noon. It's shaped by what happens in the first 30 seconds after your eyes open. You don't need motivation. You need motion. And sometimes standing up is the victory. Accountability partner, because you can't always go alone. You wake up with good intentions. You promise yourself you'll meditate, write, stretch, or just avoid checking your phone first thing. But then, you don't. It's not because you're lazy. It's because consistency is lonely. And sometimes, willpower runs out faster than we expect. That's where an accountability partner becomes your secret weapon. Not someone to police you. Not someone to shame you. But someone who stands beside you, quietly reminding you of the person you said you wanted to become, on the days when you forget. Stoicism emphasizes self-discipline and inner strength. But it never glorifies isolation. Seneca often wrote about the value of friendships rooted in virtue. He believed that having someone to share your growth journey with didn't weaken you. It made you more likely to persevere. When you're walking a hard path, especially one with no external reward, having someone witness your effort makes all the difference. Here's how to make it practical. Choose one habit you want to build, waking up on time, making your bed, journaling, anything. Then find someone you trust. Someone who's also committed to becoming a better version of themselves. It could be a friend, a partner, a sibling, a colleague. Agree to one simple rule. You check in with each other every day. Not to compare. Not to compete. But to create a rhythm of responsibility and support. It could be as quick as a one-word text. Done. Or a selfie of your journal. Or a short message. Struggled today. Trying again tomorrow. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is presence, someone else witnessing your commitment. When you know someone's watching, not judging, but caring, you show up differently. You try a little harder. You give up a little less easily. And when you slip, they remind you. This doesn't define you. Let's keep going. Over time, this small partnership becomes something sacred. You become not just individuals chasing goals, but allies in the messy, beautiful work of showing up for life. The Stoics taught that our character is shaped not just by how we act when we're alone, but also by the relationships we cultivate to keep us anchored. So if you've tried and failed to stay consistent, maybe the missing piece isn't more willpower. Maybe it's someone whispering, I see you. I believe in you. Let's try again. You don't have to go alone. In fact, you were never meant to. Remember death, live fully today. It sounds dark, morbid, uncomfortable. But it may be the most life-affirming practice you ever try. Remember, you will die. The Stoics called this memento mori, a Latin phrase meaning, remember you must die. Not to depress you. Not to make you fearful. but to wake you up. Because most people don't live, they drift. They act like life is infinite. Like there will always be more time. More chances. More someday. But there won't. And that's not tragedy. That's clarity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself often. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. When you live with that awareness, your mornings change. They're no longer a burden. They become a privilege. Instead of groaning at the alarm, you greet it with gratitude. Instead of chasing perfection, you chase presence. Because this might be the last sunrise you see. Not in a dramatic, fearful way, but in a tender, honest way. So how do you practice this without spiraling into dread? Keep it simple. Each morning, ask yourself, if today were my last, how would I want to live it? Who would I forgive? What would I finally start, or stop, doing? You don't need to quit your job or sell all your things. But you do need to live like your time matters. Because it does. When you remember death, you stop wasting moments. You stop postponing joy. You stop waiting for the right time to be the person you already want to be. You forgive faster. You love more intentionally. You speak more truthfully. You stop caring so much about things that won't matter when your time runs out. And here's the paradox. Thinking about death makes you feel more alive. Not less. Because it strips away the illusion that life is unlimited. And in doing so, it reveals the urgency of now. So tomorrow morning, as you wake, don't rush into autopilot. Pause. Breathe. And remember, this isn't a dress rehearsal. This is it. You don't get to decide how many mornings you have left. But you do get to decide what kind of person shows up for this one. Live with your end in mind. Not to be fearful, but to be fully here. That's not morbidity. That's maturity. And it just might be the most powerful reason to rise with purpose. Negative visualization. Build inner strength before life hits. We're told to think positive. Visualize success. Focus on the best possible outcome. But the Stoics, ever practical, offered something radically different, something deeper. Visualize what could go wrong. This isn't pessimism. It's mental preparedness. Negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum in Stoic terms, is the art of imagining adversity before it happens. Not to dwell in fear, but to train resilience. Most people live under the illusion that if they don't think about bad things, they won't happen. But life doesn't work that way. Setbacks come uninvited. Disappointments show up unannounced. And if we've never mentally rehearsed how to meet them, we collapse. Epictetus taught, when something happens, the only thing in your power is your response. That power begins in your imagination. Every morning, before stepping into your day, pause and ask yourself, what could go wrong today? What challenge might arise? How would I choose to respond, not react? Visualize it clearly. Not obsessively. Not emotionally. Just like a mental dress rehearsal. Your project may be delayed. Someone might disappoint you. You could face rejection, traffic, fatigue, or even grief. Then picture yourself handling it, not perfectly, but calmly. With dignity. With presence. With inner strength. This small practice does three powerful things. It lowers your emotional reactivity. You're not shocked when things go sideways. You've already seen it in your mind. You respond instead of overreacting. It builds gratitude. When you imagine losing what you love, you return to it with fresh appreciation. You stop taking ordinary joy for granted. It reinforces your values. By envisioning yourself acting wisely under pressure, you prime your character in advance. And here's the twist. Negative visualization doesn't make you darker. It makes you lighter. You walk through the day unafraid. Not because everything will go right, but because you've practiced who you want to be when it doesn't. The world is unpredictable, but your mind can be steady. So tomorrow morning, don't just visualize your goals. Visualize your grit, your calm under fire, your ability to adapt, absorb, and advance, even through difficulty. Because when life inevitably throws something hard your way, and it will, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready. And that quiet readiness, that strength. Gratitude journal. End the day, begin the next. The day is ending. Maybe it wasn't perfect. You forgot something important. You made mistakes. You didn't get to the gym. You argued. You felt tired. But before you close your eyes and let the day dissolve into sleep, you have one more decision to make. Will you carry this day with heaviness, or with gratitude? The Stoics believe that no matter how chaotic the external world becomes, we always retain the power to choose our response. And one of the most powerful responses available, especially at the end of a long, imperfect day, is thankfulness. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. Not more productive. Not more successful. Not more powerful. A grateful heart." Gratitude isn't about denying what went wrong. It's about noticing what went right, even if it was small, quiet, or hidden. That's why a nightly gratitude journal is more than just a feel-good exercise. It's a mindset realignment. It brings your attention back to what matters. It reminds your nervous system, there is still good here. We are still okay. And it sets the emotional tone for tomorrow. Because how you end your day is how your next one begins. Here's how to start. Each night before bed, take 5 minutes. Write down 3 things you're grateful for from that day. They don't have to be profound or impressive. They can be small. The warmth of your blanket. A kind text from a friend. A moment of peace during your walk. The courage to say no to something you didn't need. The point is not to search for perfection. The point is to train your perception. Because gratitude sharpens your ability to see beauty where others see burden. It builds resilience. And it teaches your mind to scan for joy instead of stress. Over time, this simple habit rewires your thinking. You stop chasing happiness. You start collecting it, right here, in the middle of your ordinary, messy, beautiful life. And when you wake up the next morning, that list stays with you. You rise with a little more calm, a little more focus, a little more warmth in your chest. So tonight, before the world fades to black, don't close the day in frustration. Close it in gratitude. It's not just a better way to sleep. It's a better way to live. One day at a time, one life built intentionally. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to change the way you begin each day. Because the way you start your morning is the way you teach your mind to meet the world. And through these 10 small, Stoic-inspired habits, you're not just improving your schedule. You're rewriting your story. You're choosing presence over autopilot. Clarity over chaos. Discipline over distraction. And intention over impulse. Will every morning be perfect? No. Will you forget? Skip? Slip? Of course. But that's not weakness. That's human. And the Stoics knew this too. What matters is the return. The quiet choice to begin again. To stand up, morning after morning, and say, I'm still here. I'm still becoming. That's the real victory. Because a great life is not made of grand wins. It's built from small moments, repeated with care, layered with courage, and driven by values Your alarm clock is not your enemy. It's your reminder. You have another chance today. To breathe. To choose. To show up. So tomorrow morning, when the world is still quiet and your room is still dim, don't rush. Sit with yourself. Reclaim the day. Begin from the inside out. One deep breath. One small habit. One new morning. That's how a Stoic life is built. One day at a time. And if this message resonates with you, remember, your journey doesn't end here. There are many more videos in the playlist I've pinned on screen, just waiting for you to explore. Let them guide you, one habit, one thought, one insight at a time. And if you'd like to continue growing alongside this Stoic journey, like this video, and hit subscribe so you'll never miss the next reflection. Because the next time you need clarity, calm, or courage, I want to be there with you. See you in the next one. Stay grounded. Stay intentional.